Let's get this thing started. Let's see if we can get everything set up for today. We're about to get the week started. I'm looking at it. We're already running through my planning day, and it's been one of those incredible weeks where if you just think about it, we're already on day 5 of this challenge. I challenged myself only 5 days ago to be a little bit consistent. Hey, Nisha, thanks for joining. And let's see, who else did we got here? Oh, the strategy lady is in the building. And Trent Meredith, what's going on, bro? Man, we need to catch up soon. I'm excited to just being consistent about sharing the education. Today's letter E, for those of you that are just hearing about this challenge, I was challenged, and I put out the challenge to people that are going through our financial education and empowerment process to get busy sharing that content on social media. There's no reason that it should only be people in fist fights and train wrecks coming across your social media feed. Somebody needs to be encouraging, enlightening, and the most important thing we can do is just educate ourselves about the rules of money. And here's the thing that I understand most is I've gone through my life trying to earn and learn as I earn. Oh, by the way, theme of this show is E. So on today, somebody do me a favor. If you do a count of all of the words that I use during this conversation that begin with the letter E, we just want to be in a position to have some equation of what we have understood. How many of the inputs that came in put us in a place to better understand and educate ourselves. And we have to be clear that it's still our responsibility not only to educate ourselves, but to educate the next generation, knowing that we are in a position in this economy where if you're of my, let's just call it complexion, my racial background, I'm a descendant of enslaved people, meaning that my ancestors were brought here against their will and put to work for 400 years with no pay, no opportunity to acquire property, assets, or equity. They were given a limited education and in many facts punished for educating themselves, so that when I come out aggressively trying to make sure that my children and my children's friend and all of the people in our environment get this education, is because I know how long we were held back, and we can't move forward unless we educate and enlighten ourselves differently. So you have to run a race differently if you start with a disadvantage, and that's where we are. So when it comes to education, I'm talking today about the root word of education, not that I'm bashing our formal education system. Those of you that know me well know that I'm highly educated. I have degrees in electrical engineering and computer science from Duke University. So my formal education has served me well, but it has still left me in a place where I needed to understand the economy. And when I talk about the economic structure in America, I'm never really as concerned about the economy as your economy, meaning what's coming into and going out of our homes to produce more and to move the next generation forward, so that we start to encourage and increase and build actual inheritances and legacies for the people that come behind us. So when I say education, root word for education, by the way, educo. And it means literally to bring from darkness to light. And when it comes to the money game, I'm gonna tell you, the way that it's set up, the worst advice we get when it comes to financial success in America, when it comes to create, and when I say financial success, I do mean wealth creation, advancing from one generation to the other. Go to school, get good grades so that you can get a good job with benefits, is the worst tax advice that there is. Meaning that the result of that education, of that system, produces employees. Put that in your list, employees. And it was designed that way, meaning our education system, if you trace it back to the beginning of formal education in America, it's interesting, around the turn of the century, going from the 1800s into the 1900s, it was the beginning of the industrial era. That age where people left the farms and started moving into factories, and the companies realized they had to do two things. They had to teach people to work on a schedule. Employees had to go in and produce the products for the employers, and the result of their production worked out to be the profits of the companies. Here's what most people really never put a lot of close attention on. Earned income is what we get from our jobs, whether you are, if you get paid. Matter of fact, this is how you can easily test where your money comes from and start to identify ways that we can add, because the tax on earned income is egregious. Y'all don't know that word. It just means they tax way too much in exchange for way too little, but it's because this country was born out of an addiction. Remember, realize they got 400 years of free labor. Labor's always been and always will be the highest tax form of income in our economy. So here's the situation. We go to work, and in 2022, the income tax bracket, the lowest income tax bracket, I think this year was 15% for people that were making less than $15,000 a year. So on a sliding scale, all the way up to 37%, meaning more than a third of your income. The more you make, the more they take. And if you're an employee and your employer is the only source of your earnings, the 1943 Tax Act, let's do a little bit of economic history. It gave employers the right to take taxes out of our paychecks before issuing the paychecks to the employee. What does that mean? The government and business were in collusion such that the government got paid for the work that we did before we got paid. I mean, look at your check. There's a gross amount and there's a net amount. In the middle are all of these egregious fees. These are the taxes that get taken out ahead of time, and then we get sent home with what's left. Examine that relationship, if you will. I mean, really think about how much sense it makes for you. But what happened? It was the law, and it was put in a place that the workers, common man, the employees, the wage earners, taxed at the highest rate. In the middle, there's a different higher control tax freedom for business owners, that's your B's, where they got taxed less, but most importantly, they got taxed last. They got to work through the year with the earnings that came from their business and then get taxed on the profits after all of their expenses were covered. How does that compare to us as employees? We went to work first. We got taxed, and then we got paid what's left, and then have to pay our expenses off of a remainder when the government got paid off the gross. Does that make sense? And then that last category, we'll come back around to this in several of the other letters, is investment income, portfolio income, money making money. This country's built on the idea of the rich getting richer because their wealth doesn't get penalized the same way that our work does. I know those are W words, don't have to do with E, but it means that entrepreneurship is the key. You got to own at least one of your sources of income so that you don't get caught in the earned income trap. What's the earned income trap? Well, we already talked about it. If we don't evolve a philosophy that lets us at least come to the place where we control some of the money that goes out of our lives, we'll just be on that perpetual rat wheel of paying too much in exchange for too little. So that's my second category and concept. So if we talk about earned income, entrepreneurship, ownership, understand this. Everything that the government wants you to do, there's a tax break for it. And in our country, the secrets to wealth have actually been embedded in the tax code. W-2 and W-4 are actually tax codes that say how a certain type of income will be treated. 1099, 401k, all of those are still tax codes for the treatment of a certain category of money and the income that comes from it. And if you understand how to use these to our advantage, That's where we get a chance to escape the rat race. Put that in your notes. Escaping the rat race is one of my main goals for anybody that decides that they want to embark on a path of education and empowerment. Let's get out of the rat race. What's the rat race, Richard? Well, the rat race is that ongoing cycle that most of us get educated into, where the goal was get a job, make more money, make more money, make more money. How do you make more money? You get further advanced education and degrees, or you move up into the executive status within the company, but it's continuing to chase earned income, paying expenses, but needing enough earned income to get back to work the next week. Well, here's the goal in escaping the rat race, because here's what happens. When you win the rat race, you're still a rat. How do we escape? Well, the first thing that we got to do is get to the place where, in addition to our earned income, we start to acquire assets. We talked about that in letter A of this alphabet. If you hadn't seen that part of the challenge, just go back down the timeline or visit my YouTube channel. Look for letter A and understand that as we acquire assets, meaning we buy things that put money into our pockets, that starts to build the escape vector and elevate our process for exiting the race. Now, the third thing, and this is important, it's probably so important that it shouldn't be the third thing, it should probably be the first thing. If this one element didn't exist in our world in order to escape the rat race, I'd say the number one E that you need to have in your vocabulary on a daily basis is enthusiasm. Yes, enthusiasm. It's one of my favorite words. Why? I'm into etymology. What's etymology? Etymology is the study of words, their origins, and where they come from. And enthusiasm has a root word in theos. That means from God within. And I always like to say at the end of enthusiasm is IASM. I want you to write that all on your paper and see what it looks like. In theos, meaning from God within. The God that's in you is listen to the God that's within me. And at the end of that IASM, I'm saying I am sold myself. If you enthusiastically attack your lacks, the things that you don't know from an educational point of view, if you dedicate your energy to exposing the egregious excess taxes that we are experiencing based on our earned income, if you elevate your mind and allow your education to evolve you and the people around you to another level, we start to extend our vocabulary. But more important than extending our vocabulary is extending our mind. And once your mind is expanded past its original dimensions, it never returns to the previous state. So take advantage of this conversation. Make sure that you enthusiastically elevate, educate, and put yourself in a position where earned income, I'm not a job basher, by the way, I have great jobs, always have, but not just to be an employee, but an employer, an entrepreneur, someone who earns income from their labors, but also from their investments and their business systems. We have to escape this rat race existence where we're taught the trap of earn more money, make more money, make more money, without ever experiencing the exquisite feeling of having our earnings earn income for us. Put our energy there. That'll be my time for today. I'm going to sign off, but just make sure, tune in, push the bell. If you like this challenge, if you feel educated and empowered based on what you're hearing and you're bold enough, I dare you to go live and put some more positive energy and enthusiasm into the environment so that every day and every way the people around you hear more from us. If you're part of the Extra Digit movement, again, feel free to share this video, tag someone that this would be of value to. If it's been of value to you, I'll be looking forward to speaking with you tomorrow. I'm gonna figure out how to get this wire to quit swinging back and forth during our video encounter. I'm still learning, making mistakes, messing up, and enjoying the process. Put yourself to work, evolve, empower, educate, elevate. We're put here to do more than just exist. All right, that's really my time. I'm gonna get out of here. Good night, everybody. So let's see if my recording, get the week started. I'm looking at it. We're already running through my oh, I'm still recording over on this side. This video gonna look longer. Sorry.